Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Esther Ya, so I'll be moderating this session. Welcome to Forum 5, Hidden in Bedside Neurodiversity in Girls and Women. So first of all, let me introduce our amazing panelists here. So first, we have Miss Amani, a social media and e-commerce strategist, founder of NeuroD, a platform that amplifies neurodivergent voices and support people awareness and representation. Next, we have Miss Intan, head of Petronas Neurodiversity Center of Excellence, where she did efforts to embed neurodiversity as a strategic advantage. With over 18 years of experience, she will bring a strong workspace perspective into this conversation. Next, we have Dr. Rowina. We are so grateful to have you here. She's a clinical cardiologist at Intan NahariahIntan Nahariah and also a neurodiversity advocate. Diagnosed with autism and ADHD in adulthood, she will bring both medical expertise and lived experience today. And finally, we have Miss Heather, educational psychologist and founder of Scene Inclusion. As a class exceptional ADHD professional and mother of the neurodivergent children, she will bring both deep professional expertise and personal insight into supporting neurodiversity. Thank you all for being here. So, it's worth noting that while neurodivergence occurs across all genders, data from Center of Disease Control and Prevention shows that autism is identified 3 times more likely in the boys than girls. Many experts believe that this gap reflects not just the difference in prevalence, but also under-recognition in girls. With that in mind, let's begin with our first question. Why do you think neurodivergent women and girls are often more underdiagnosed? And also, what role do societal and cultural expectations play on this?
Sorry. I think the better me scarce. I think better is to be best and coming. I think like shaking Abby on dry gels. We come from the Western and American. Be free, kind of on all the time was seems they impossible. How you some energy? Wow, if it's hatched done. Wow, yeah, and I'm a in free all the anxiety. And my cameras and my line is going and tick shandy. Yeah, I sleep really well, which gives them peace, honestly. So it's accepted, but I looked so successful. And the being someone that wasn't actually even interestingly, my diagnosis came because of my 3-year-old son, who I is the saddest humanity. As one of us was, I said, "Mom, sit down. I'll never sit down with the 5-year-old boy." So I think that going and getting so much done is actually seen as something that's positive instead of seen as what's going on with this really overactive right now.
Personally, for me, I'm more of internally hyperactive, so I don't show why the breastfeeding side. So I think that's where the other spectrum it comes up. You go tend to think you're shy or you're the very patient. Sometimes even as it using the point of lazy. So people think that you are not other things, but actually you are just trying to regulate. So I find that answering myself and resting a thought actually helps me to regulate. So it makes me to I prefer being a monolithic silent. So I think that's sort of masking actually makes it very hard to get that. And in emails, especially Asian societies, we tend to expect those to be more shy. So when we are shy, it's not unique. So for them, it's like, oh, it is. But it's normal for them. So I think that's why I have to pick up. So, and probably the third thing I've done to pick up is I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist myself. So my psychiatry training is indeed probably as far as I'll spend my medical school years. But even then, I feel that the topic of autism and ADHD is but such a tiny part of the curriculum So I think we don't understand it enough. So that's why we don't pick it up. So it's nice to see over the years, more and more research is coming up. We're understanding the different spectrums, different ways that can present different challenges. So we are recognizing that it's important. If not previously, I think the only concerns about autism and ADHD is they won't do well on school. Other than that, we don't see how it affects your daily life, how it makes you struggle to sort of like regulate your sensitivity, issues, your social interactions. As long as you do well in school, to them it's like, why do you need a diagnosis? It's not important. You're doing okay in school, just go, just keep going. What you want to, right? Yeah, so I think those aspects are the most important, the masking, the lack of knowledge, and also the lack of awareness.
No. I gather all the information from neurodivergent women community, and Rowina Botania is more heavy in internally, where I have whole internally and so I also outside people. So one thing about hyperactive is that women expect to be big hyperactive. Like for example, I like to can be but because of the cultural. So coming a speech to free voice and also having better because of my dyslexia is not as multiple as the so untypical that knowledge who are related. Given the there is a high pressure where all those supposed to manders, sure, and use and that and those aspects is that I must say I believe, but why I have to do like he has that. So some of the girls said that really like here, I felt that I don't be mood to be alone. I feel that I should be okay because I like for the setup. So it's okay to be neurodivergent and right. We have all this hundred. This is a but the purpose. So that still is appreciate your goes only like what going to be like not to be a boy but like a boy stuff. I think just now what had been shared really show us what is actually happening beneath the surface, which is actually there is more for us to explore like what masking and also lack of knowledge and also we share some strategies. We will go on to that later. So for our second question, building on that, what challenges or struggle do neurodivergent women and mothers face that often remain unseen? Just now you have mentioned that some of these maybe not public is getting more and more rare already. Is there something that you would like to highlight a little bit more? And also, I got the question would like to ask, what are your thoughts on translation in relation to neurodivergent women?
Hey, what is this challenge for me? With ADHD, she sounds with ADHD, and then they also had dyscalculia. So really difficult for me was weirdly, even as a psychologist, relating to how our ADHD is different. And so see having an interpretation, and it's not easily painful, but say never struggling in school and then having two boys who really some big struggles in math and in reading and times in I. It's like virus, you were like, virus, you guys have ADHD, and then not even want to take medication in high. It's right there. He told me they want to take medication because he felt that he lose his superpowers when he was 9. And trying to understand them, today I offer my meds. I love them. So I love and then see my other son, who is here today, who's graduating. He's got to see his expression after this. Really shiny his own cap. So that for me was a struggle as mom because I think my expectation was, well, there's that you're so much like he, but they're not. And if there's administration and there's now university and the perimenopausal is kind of I'm not gonna say a nightmare, but there was a really the biggest thing he is really absolutely like coming up myself at all during this was feeling like I don't really continue living, but I'm like that's lucky. The very where he made a difference just she met. But then going there are pretty good places here though. I just keep talking to me bro I really good place. I can just shout it done she's amazing at that. And just looking at that and having talking to doctors who really didn't understand and were telling me that was crazy. I was too young there some college could it really there is hormonal fluctuation. I feel like in mine an out body experience almost.
The baby can actually count the moment that I start going 2 weeks. You really think that I can't do this anymore. There's no point in it. Yeah, exactly. Because you think suddenly that all your coping the fees, everything is mental. And but the short, you be having monthly every 6 is you will never figure out how to cope in it. So eventually you just learn your cycle and then you just plan your life around it. You just avoid things in the way. So I guess that's how personally it's a big reality. That's really pretty good of doing it. And I think for me personally, I need a lot of sensory sensitivity. So when you have your menses, it's very uncomfortable. So I am sure either for a neurodivergent or the elder, smarting, no very style. So it's even more so about when so to the point that sometimes I can't sleep because at night it's very uncomfortable. I depend just myself. So those kind of things I think that is trouble. And in terms of like life in general, I'm not married and I don't have kids, but I guess it sort of applies because my job is something that needs a lot of organizational skills, I will say. And I took see how that would affect others as well, because I think we underestimate how much parenting requires organizational skills. So it's not just making up, getting your kids ready to school. It's a lot of planning, and not just planning for now. You're planning for their future as well. So I think I can see how a neurodivergent would have trouble with this, because we are kind of time blind. We can only see like probably up a few hours into the future, but we can't see in sun when I'm going to university and things like that. It's about us for parents with neurodivergence. They won't start planning for the university and things like that. But we should be right. So I think the organizational skills, they be brings feedback, they be like close feedback. Those
No, we said that
So this discussion on your take in terms of a stopwell, what these generally think of that, how it's been designed, and there's a lot of assumptions and so and if human performance is linear, this is a smart speed and be better as human keep it is dynamic. But unfortunately workplaces right now are not designed. So what we've heard today are real experience of accidents or lived experience. So my and being my take in them, how does all is factor into how can we design better workplaces so that struggles can become clear? What our observation is annoyance for a year moment, even if they struggle, it's normally at seeing of the workplace because they will be still be performing. And they will still be performing until she say, underneath it. She's panicking at the swan gracefully. But that's why we can't pick it up unless, it get to a point of the tipping point and that's illegal to pressure, anxiety. Again, all the struggles are very real and I feel like companies can understand better. When we know better, we should do better. Maternity is 30 days, 50 days. Now company go up to 6 months and paternity now go up to 2 months some companies. Because we understand the importance of early involvement of parents into kids. So be woman, be anti woman, the intersection. I think we're learning more. So what can be done? There's also the intersection of perimenopausal. I'm also a mom of neurodivergent kids. Yesterday was Global Autism Awareness Day. So already from one kid, second year to school, and my mind was already on each home Google custody and each. And then I was already driving into my office, and then my son was saying, my youngest was saying, "Mama, I might not go to school." So I actually like totally forgot he's at the back, and I was gonna go pre-kick to work. So in the end, he had to be late. But again, it's something that I'm missing as well. When my perimenopausal brain hits, it's like crazy. But again, workplaces doesn't consider all this yet. So what is it that we learn from all this that we can then come back and design better workplaces that consider on the spur ons? Because what we want is for our staff to perform. And if we don't address and see, this is when then the lack performance, we're still not gonna get any me. I because of all of our SUV issues. Like me, I have a CD. My so maybe you can be last 3 days to 5 days. So when during the period is like is busy. So I also need to take a issues. Amani maybe can bring a bit nearer. Oh, okay. And then 3 days to 5 days on my case as recovery for my pregnant how hard is that? And usually if I show up, I ask for the courses to give you and see. So because I cannot stay wait asking for my day, I don't know how other people too. They say they also have my brain, they can work well, but I cannot. So that's I take action or I work at the Silam Party course to work. Okay, since they already covered about us our word, now I want to talk about relationship. Relationship neurodivergent women, especially are diagnosed early or are being diagnosed before getting married, is really hard for a partner. Besides, most of the toxic love advice for social media, let's say, they say that uh, it's quite toxic for us because we feed the toxic because our self the example eye contact when they apart meet eye done. We don't do eye contact. But so all case when it comes to dating, all means they how to say rejected immediately. And some the women say that get away they went to dating platform could find a partner where it easily swipe or there been message another guy uh, repeat again as go back. Oh, you are neurodivergent. I only date normal girls. Instant reject. So because most of the people give is sort of a message. I don't know what to say. Ethnic stigma, where they say that if you marry a Norwegian, you will end having your fertility kid, which is very bad. Genuinely is a girl. Normal parents can have neurological and neurologists even marry neurologists doesn't mean if we have your the genetic is still a gamble. And then I think that I people should know uh your personality instead of diagnosis and every marriage even they take there is some challenges. Is what I'm like.
You want to
I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but
Is it the EV?
yeah,
It is experience. I really feel that many in this challenge was so real, and I also feel that as
yeah. Okay, that's our next question.
so. Just now, I think Monaco Galaxies mentioned about masking and also how we need to
Be and I to show the challenges how they are in order to so how does masking for self-criticism affect mental health and well-being? And is there anything that can help the money to move towards connection?
maybe or me the style is like because it always Before that, I would say I was a person of very low self-esteem because I felt like, why you I keep doing life up doing like everything you will you try this, you will try this. Usually, I think I have no different way of doing things, but in the end, I just came in and do it so, a typical way because I can suppose people say this with the way like to do. So I felt that I always declare when tôi sẽ happy kết con lưu whatever people that way do. So that has led me to fail about time. So I teach up on my self-esteem really bad because of that. But after I got diagnosed, I think that was the most helpful thing because it was a turning. Immediately, I felt like, okay, I understand why this is happening, and I can see of ways that I think will help me overcome it. So previously, I would just follow what people tell me to do. Now I feel that it's okay for me to do things my way, because but we have to embrace the fact that sometimes there's some difference in the way they think. We think that we might need to do things differently. So I think for me, getting the diagnosis or the most importantly, understanding for yourself much. For me, there's it
is, and it also in my case, having a lot, coming a lot of complex and stress, not use what I was a kid. It definitely compounded how the anxiety that comes with ADHD and the social stress and the overthinking. And so it's nobody shit with, and I always believe that hard ticking up to a judgment, but should I eat good and bad and constantly pursue going towards thinking about the higher conversation. Like eat playing everything. It's right. What she they were alert and it's just all being near. So guy in the any kind of voice that is a kind because each of us is having that option is just being able to talk about it. And I guess that's the can be she thought of what's going to use you still issues. Helps a lot of peers, I think, and helped a lot with kids. But I guess this area that the signal is real. It's really out there. I'd really try every day to help people with that also.
Abraham will please speculate. I think it depends on at what stage of their life that he or she is diagnosed. Because my observation, they do go through different stages in terms of before you get to acceptance. There's always briefing more, sometimes even chin. But we do see once they get the acceptance stage, that's when that voice slowly turn to a bit more kindness and self-compassion because in the workplace, we have the case where this person she got ill that she was ADHD, but she was always voiced to herself as always negative in terms of, oh, said that other people can do this easily and I can't. I had see throughout a workshop, a whole day workshop, and she's just very snarky and maybe hard on the side. And she thought because her mom that passed away for the Alzheimer's, she thought she was also going to be diagnosed with Alzheimer's. But when she attended like in a minor section, didn't understand, and she thought like, this really sound right. So she went back to a psychiatrist for like eco diagnosis, and then she started on medication. And the language that you will observe and symptom of she talks to herself now as nothing else the brain line, just the one wiring is just prep. So that language and takes a while. I learned do this, I was broken, then slowly turn to, oh, my brain is just working differently. I just need a different system to set me up for success. So we see that in a supportive environment, that self-criticism slowly, scaffolded as they understand themselves better, that turns into compassion and self.
they speak to him. They was okay.
Yes, I'm in non-area, so I don't want to be a like. So, that one question isn't a marry you see that. Okay, married me, pregnant and very normal moment. Even also my special moment also. Okay, they like yes, they didn't traumatized because you know the rejection what they see about you. Then it take a break, and then go to a psychologist and talk about it. I wish that Malaysia had this psychologist low catching that they have in America, but Malaysia, I don't I wish they could try to do one day. Love marriage here. My dear husband is died. It's tough, got your ability to buy a partner. So we do need help. So why not, someone you do this kind of venture? As my we to go to a CBT, Korea the Pina hierarchy. For people who are winners, is self because you are like how many follow back on their job. So CBT handle that false making more realistic. I like my example is this thing that it's okay if we have a dark card. How to say it? What is the it's okay to have a dark time. But yeah, he as in like then idea to yeah, it's okay to have that thought and then you need to this. I read I'm trying to learn to communicate with I saw her is easy to communicate because I can meet she there. So I stay okay and it's maybe you lost friends or who lost say she will at the is it's okay it's process pass is still there work with you try your best to be that maybe someone out there has helped actually.
So sorry, just want to educate about medication. So the mentioned this, I have to agree that medication help me a lot, and I think there's a lot of stigma behind taking medications because people always see it as like easy way out. So I think it's wrong because to us, it really pops into one side. So when I got people tell us like, oh, what do you it's my daily medications, you can just cope with it really naturally and all. To be honest, we don't have time to actually do that. We need to puncture their word, we need to puncture their boom, and sometimes meditations is it's Saturday. So I hope that a lot of people feel more comfortable taking it because it can be really life changing person.
I really agree. And yeah, actually, first started taking me Intan NahariahIntan Nahariah this year. When I first started taking medication, or first time diagnosed when went from this three, so for 15 years on medication. And when I first started, I was working, I was like, working as a counselor at school. Even my friend, she was, I ever forgot or to get the, she could look at me and she's like, "You're not on your medication yet, are you?" And it wasn't that I would stay, it's more, it really helps focus. I always like to say I had so many tabs of brain and it is such that like a ball of yarn that is so wrapped up, so many versions, and I just stay able to take them and just take the string and don't dirt spat on my finger. So my like books are used now date. But I did one of those is to that point studying. I was can attest to this. Doing my PhD, I would get really explicit instructions from my supervisor, and I would work yearly in the CDHD price Siberia Prestor. I don't understand what she's trying to say. It's all exactly the same thing. It's because it all, I'm like, this is all connected. I don't understand. I'm a separate. And I would get so frustrated. Thankfully, I had this very patient last couple of years with for ADHD years. And he's like, "Do you can fix without an attitude?" And I'm like, "No, can see difference." And he said with me and he told disabled, this and this means this. Appreciative professor when she after say, "Yes, he wish see stop." So letting that's a deep mind in the workplace, like thinking in just understanding the ways that even with vision, it's still so messy.
I think it was for taking very medication. Yeah, even for myself, working as an occupational therapist, when I just started posting, also my perspective towards medication is not that usual actually. Until the day a doctor tell me that he was didn't kick that yet, he might be not that ready to learn that skill. Then when it helps it to be more ready, that he can learn the skill, and he master the skill, then it's not that forever they will be kicking medication. Yeah, but I'm not at the role to prescribe medication. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to our next question, which is also our last question. So, as we move towards creating a more inclusive spaces, what practices, strategies can partners, families, workplaces, and communities implement to provide meaningful support and foster inclusion? I think everyone will have quite wanna go his simple.
So adults from the describing of grades, I think it's the intersection of ND and women with your mommy for account energy happy, yes, which is traditionally very mean populated. You have a target at 30% of core, even that or for many years it's not an easy thing to achieve. So when we talk about intersectionality to the ND and women, and the title is to app for them to be unseen, either the alien in the side is really accurate. So in terms of in one of the lines parts on corporate is we must be careful not to compete policy with culture tools. You can have a best policy for DI to support, but a good politician will still be your flaw. Then culture comes into being because it really is again to the practices of how leaders show up to support their staff. And you can have policies and systems again, but you need to be able to look at your staff as a whole per se, because a community and human life needs to be different from individual to individual. So as you have a good policy or systems or processes and is the thing that you still need to work on towards real inclusion is read and everyday practices in our culture. And these are the things that it's not an overnight thing that we can do. It's really a journey that organization needs to work towards. Like Bao had a good point as near, yes, Petronas still not do anything in developing, but telling the government this is legislation that needs to be put in place. But what we can do is we can now also help inputs. So what is it that we can do so that our staff can feel that they are supported to be a best capable? And this has to look at how we design work cases instead of just saying who we want to hire or who we will not. And like, so I think that's from a work perspective. Okay. And that's very great sharing.
Is this a bit funny having wrote a person yeah autism but because we know to be the most strategic because but I think flexibility at the workplace us a lot. To play puppy, pay that we do things and all. Because we always have a different way, different time, different process. So a lot of time we get stuck because no, the process wants us to do it this way. But to us it's like, oh, why we work still why can I really go in way? Yeah, so I think it really helps whenever they give me that what they expect at the end product. It just let me figure out how to do things by a bit. And another thing about just to add on to what you mentioned, it has to be intentional. Because for a lot of workplaces, they wait for you to tell them you're struggling. We're not going to this. We're just going to keep going and then we'll just crash and burn. So I think there's a lot of time that we need the employers to sort of go wake up all these kind of signs that we're struggling and sort of make it intentional. That's why.
Like because it's irrational. What the Rowina said. I think it is. It's really giving the bless the city rigid efficacy, kind of a pair of simple statement, but it is really. But for me, I think as knowledge or research is done in education and management, how my own ambience, they who I am. It relationships are everything. In relational support is so important, but the way it is relationship though is intentionality, but it's without judgments. It's towards the validating through the hours people and seeing people. But in order to do that, you have to talk to the person themselves. And because I feel at looking and doing all the research I've done in education and the inclusion policy and the impact that has on student well-being, actually what is on paper what the aspiration is and what in times what think is happening, you just get some kids to actually tell you what's really going on and it does not match. And so I think talking to people, but not just like, oh, Tommy, when you leave, but really building a relationship. And you don't expect us to change for you. You need to change the environment for these kids, for these people. But in order you that you have to have a true compassion, where you really have to the end of the day, I can get that is the support. And that is because we don't usually else comes just almost like the frustrating, but we also actually keep it at working with us and allowing them to also say they're frustrated is really important because I need to go to a place, but we need to be able to work together. And again, I think the most important thing is without judgment.
谢谢，一样舒服，谢谢，还会去，一起，然后I mean my fault in English, they is in working. So I arrived a bit late. I mean, the hotel in its 8 o'clock. And some my work is skittish. One time, my bosses give me a 1,600 client for me to calm down. So I managed to do that while arriving late. So he can see that I can move every time. I cannot sit up. And even my colleague say that I'm scared of the chair that she sit because scared of she bony or the chair is broken because I sometimes do that is we working. So they scare. But all of them are okay, you not only heard of you, so we all taking each other. So what I like about them is like they know which one is how to say baran, mara, yeah, anger, but they respect that. That's what I like about them. And also, simple to learn, she's really give a take and so friendship. So I wish that there is someone you can guide all the communication. And also I would like to add on what Rowina said that we also would not have this problem. Like Malaysia, it have this culture. If you ask, you get him smarter, but someone do I like it. Maybe I don't know how to ask. I don't know how to build a passion into I guess there's a in order to probably create a sentence. Or sometimes my question is to be can be and thanks to my elder sister who helped me. Okay, you sounds more like anger. When you want to do this, you need to be more persuasive, more professional. So I wish that the company have its communication expert on neurodivergent and neuro speakers because that's a gap between that.
Really, thank you for all the wonderful sharing. As what is mentioned in our corridor, they really bring a lot hidden in the plan side. I hope that now it's less keenness after today's conversation. So before we close, I would like to invite each of our panelists to share what key message or takeaway for our audience here today. Yeah.
So I think for me is probably the fact that is even the title says it so it's it most of the time. So I hope that a lot of people will be aware of how different they present and so motivating work your family members, your friends, and things like that. Because sometimes they're quite displaying, but yeah, just keep quick to ask for help. So a lot of them just accept living life to do not to your police and they just take whatever they get. Just quite sad. Just I feel that sometimes whenever I know that I can know something, but something is a failure, it feels sad because I feel like I know so much potential, but doing it, so I feel that it's creating its awareness actually helps. okay, people around by telling my story, I can actually help to recognize this irritability, their breaks. So I think that is especially really observed.
I agree. Completely unavailable in safety. Really, to summarize that it's building safety and handle and so already that is like it's sherry, it's not the P shaped skin you are. Because again, like it's Penny said many times, when I'm broken, I don't need me fix. I don't need to fix anybody else. We're human beings. And I think the funniest thing always at in this question, you mean guess what I do is just looking at the large growing numbers of neurodiversity. So you almost need to ask myself, like, when are we gonna just stop saying that we're all atypical? Because yes, we are not the same, but there's so many that are just not, that are hidden, that are not theirs, that are not seen, that it's like, why? We'll know that we're there when you don't have to say, go to this neurodiverse coffee shop to see these neurodiverse people that we're getting jobs to. It's like, they're just there. That's when you know what you're actually getting somewhere where it's not talking about my neurodiverse label or grateful that I can use it right for, but that it's like, this is actually what I mean, because this is why and
That again is the good pace. Uh, I think women has been masking, like women are becoming so extra in masking all their life because again the workplaces are not designed in mind, especially angry women. So how can we break that lens, kindness, passion, and the key is to ensuring that our staff, our main staff, and these especially are supported so they can be their best self at work because it's what we really want from them anyway. We really want them to be that engine of innovation that spark creativity. But this will not, if your work is still change, then all this we're still creating barriers. We're bringing them in and yet possible to that. So I hope we bring in the curiosity, kindness, passion as we deal with everybody. And I'm going from Andy. It's a be about us, John, then in this be about we. And together, how do we make that work business more appreciated in a way that works well and more. I'm explaining you see that just it does be able to talk AI to work and does connect real women help. For example, when I see other such there are two people and then because to me I had to do it alone. Did you say I can do it? But sometimes people have the ADHD paralysis. So to achieve that kind of what you say the companies with KPI, sometimes I do need other another PC to help the ADHD by me on therapy. So just need this that but you know it's like able to do it doesn't mean that yeah, me also need a house. I have a relationship, yes. I just wish that someone who are mentioned. So Gee. So yeah, a lot of spectrum I find it very leads, like they say like I read a lot of phenotypic low or neurotypical with neurodivergent and they say that neurotypical with neurodivergent UI or cosmic they say that because I love participating. So actually in marriage it's a story even neurotypical build how that relates so there is no how can I say in this set there is no skin no there is no such thing as problem free. That's all I can say. So everybody have their own red flag. So we try to work together. Okay? So yes. I also only change and I only in the post moment. Yeah, so really thank you for all the panelists. It's already wonderful, and your insight also, especially also for Miss Amani to gather so many voices when they are not here. So also we get to learn from some that are not here. So we really love to continue this conversation, but sadly we are reaching the end already. So thank you to all our panelists and also our audience